This is Dirt Bike Test, and today we're talking about Yamaha's TT-R 230. This is a play bike or a trail bike. It's not a competition bike. It's more of an entry-level bike. And if you're watching this video, you're probably pretty interested in it for a couple of different reasons. You're new to motorcycles, and this one crossed your path. You want a dirt bike. You don't know if it's the right one. So in this, we're talking about an entry-level, get into dirt bike riding or keep you into dirt bike riding type of dirt bike. So we'll call it a medium-sized bike. It's not really a full-size bike, especially because the seat height is quite low. It has an air-cooled motor. It's electric start. It has a carburetor. There's nothing on this bike that's super high-tech or anything other than Yamaha did a really good job styling it like the bigger YZs. The TTR family is all about play, family, enjoyment, all this kind of stuff. So it's built to be super durable, need minimal maintenance, put gas in it, maybe change the oil every once in a while, keep the air filter clean, and the air filter really doesn't get that dirty. Just ride it. This is the kind of bike that you'll find parked in people's garages for a long time. They take it out and go riding. Its performance is very, very mediocre, just medium. And we'll get into it right from the start. So you start by, there's a button here, and it's basically the power button. You push that, and then you push the starter. The one thing about the Yamaha TT-R 230 and almost all TTRs, I have experience with the 50, the 125, they're very cold-blooded. So they're gonna need the choke. And if they've been sitting for a while, it's often good to kind of like lay it over and let a little gas spill out, or, you know, get it primed, if you will, because it's super cold-blooded and it will take a few minutes to warm up and then it's fine. And the good thing about it is it's jetted very, very lean. So that means the mixture of the air and gas is quite lean. So it doesn't mind going up in altitude, where a lot of bikes, they get rich when they go in altitude. This one at sea level, it struggles a little bit. That leanness comes around. The power delivery is super smooth. It's very chug, chug, chug. It's not like this racy four-stroke that you hear about with all of the current competition models. This bike really is just, it's got a heavy crank. Its power is very bottom end, mid-range focused. It doesn't really rev out that much on top, but that's not really where it was designed to work. This bike is easy to put in gear, let the clutch out, and just crawl around. So cold-blooded is one thing. The clutch modulation on this one, it's a little bit different than some of the other ones. It's soft, which is good. It's not grabby, but you'll get used to it right away. And same things for, you know, the shifting. It's not like super tight. It's a little bit, everything about it is just very, very mediocre. As a beginner rider or a novice rider, it's something you're never going to notice until you go to a competition bike, something that's very fine-tuned. This thing just gets the job done. It starts, it runs, it makes plenty of power to go any place that someone with the skill level is going to do. It comes with some really good Pirelli tires. The suspension, there's no clickers on the suspension. It just goes up and down and absorbs the bumps. So if you're in between like 120 pounds and 180 pounds, it's gonna be fine. If you're heavier than that, it might be a little soft. If you're lighter, it might be a little bit stiff. But it goes up and down, it absorbs the bumps. It does the things that it needs to do, and it's not gonna confuse you or cause any problems. The other thing about this bike is, like we talked about, it's not a competition bike. And a lot of times when you get kids, younger guys that want to take this thing out and go jump it, it's going to bottom out. It's not really designed to be doing all this crazy jumps and stuff, but at this range, oh, you can do it. And sure you put the right kid on it and they can bend and break things. But at this range, that's not where it's really set up and set up for. But just cruising down the trail, it's fine. Can you ride it fast? I was able to ride it pretty fast. Does it go slow? It does that. It's just really standard issue, easy to ride, fun motorcycle that needs zero maintenance. And this is kind of where some people are like, I'm worried about how much I'm gonna have to work on it. You'll never have to work on this thing. I have a friend who has one of these. Actually, it's the street going version. It's the more dual sport version. He's ridden the wheels off of it, and I don't know if he's ever changed the oil. Just loves it. So it's start and go and ride and come back and maybe wash it. Maybe every year change the oil. This is kind of what we're talking about with this bike. Nothing fancy. Steel handlebars. It does look pretty sharp. It's a nice looking motorcycle. The brakes, for instance, they get the job done. They slow the bike down. Actually, they're pretty, the front brake is actually adequately strong for the motorcycle. The rear brake is a drum brake, which most of the competition bikes have discs, so there's a little bit more feel and modulation, but it slows the bike down. It does what it's supposed to do. And that's really the key for this bike. So to sum it up, if you're looking at this bike, it's probably more of making sure it's the right bike for the right person. And I'll tell you one thing that I've really seen this bike do is I've put people that got stuck on a competition bike. Maybe they bought a used 254 stroke motocross bike. It was just too much and they didn't really enjoy riding. And I've taken a couple of these people and said, hey, try this. And they ride it and they go, oh my God, this is what I needed. I feel comfortable. It doesn't want to stall. The power isn't out of control. It's tractable. It doesn't spin up when I'm trying to go, accelerate, and it doesn't stall when I'm trying to slow down. The brakes aren't too touchy. They don't have to worry about radiators. You can tip over in this thing, unless you smash it into a rock, you're going to be fine. Nothing's going to break off. They'll probably suggest some, wraparound hand guards would be a good modification for this. But other than that, it just get up and go. If you have a younger rider coming off of another TTR, a smaller bike, this is a good move up as opposed to going up to a bigger bike. It's a great way to learn what the bigger wheels do without getting kind of attacked by being on a really tall seat height motorcycle or something that handles too quick. Some other things about this bike that may be considered bad is that it is heavy, but heavy adds stability. And a lot of riders, there's some of the newer bikes in this class that have gotten a little bit more, we'll call them sporty. They hopped on the Yamaha and said, yeah, that one feels really planted. So we rode this along with the KTM E Freeride, the new Honda CRF 250 F, the Kawasaki KLX. So we've ridden with different bikes, and this one just sits in a very happy medium where really nobody complained, especially the riders that it was intended for. Some of our, more high-level guys said, yeah, it feels heavy and the handling's a little slow. The motor's a little bit sluggish. But that never came out of the person that actually this bike was designed for and was used for. So it's a great stepping stone. It's probably not going to, if you get into riding, you really like it, it's probably just going to be a stepping stone and take the next thing. Or you're a seasoned old dude or old gal that's been riding for a long time and the motorcycles are just too tall and too fast and too everything, step on down. I have a blast when I ride these things just because I can maximize the motorcycle. I get to feel the end of the throttle cable. You got to make your shifts if you want to ride it faster when you're supposed to. Ground clearance is a little low, so you got to watch your toes. But all in all, this Yamaha is exactly what it's supposed to be. It's a bike that gets the job done, it's affordable, and it'll last forever.
If you liked what you saw in this video, come check us out over at dirtbiketest.com on the webs. We have bike tests, product tests, a lot of fresh dirt, and you can even support us by clicking through our links. Hopefully, we'll see you out in the trail.